So I find it so funny when people say things like, "Oh, why do black people have to make everything about race?" and why do you have to always bring up race? And the reality of it is, it's because white people actually make everything about race. It's not black people who do that. And I think that the lack of coverage of South Carolina's women's basketball team is a prime example of that. So yesterday, after they beat Iowa in the national championship, what CNN did and many other outlets was they put up photos of Caitlin Clark and the Iowa team, or even in their narrative, simply centered Iowa and Caitlin Clark. And a large part of this is because Caitlin Clark, for many people, was this great white hope, right? And that's not a knock on her. Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, is the greatest women's college basketball player of this generation. She's going to be a phenomenal pro. She's outstanding, right? But the fact remains that she is a young white woman from the Midwest, and white media, white outlets latched onto that. It was the perfect storm of her greatness and her whiteness. But there was something else that happened this season that got no coverage, right? You had Dawn Staley lead a team of predominantly black players to a 38-0 season, right? And this is after making a run last year and losing that entire starting five, and primarily having to play freshmen that she had to coach up for the first time this season. 38-0, no losses, beat Caitlin Clark, as she's also the first black D1 coach to win 3 basketball titles. But is that the narrative? Is that the conversation? No, of course not, because Dawn Staley's a black woman, and this is a primarily black team from a very black city. And so, again, you can see right here in the coverage, and black people having to call CNN out for it. We didn't make this about race. Black people didn't make this about race. These black girls didn't make this about race. They made it about basketball, and they beat Caitlin Clark. They beat Iowa. And who did you still choose to center, right? Who has the media still chosen to center? Not the greatest team of the season, right, by far. It's not like they just won by happenstance. They were stellar, right? They were world beaters this year. But that didn't matter because they're not white.